Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Surah Mu'minun verse 62, Allah says, وَلَا نُكَلِّفُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا وَلَدَيْنَا كِتَابٌ يَنْطِقُ بِالْحَقِّ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And the translation of this verse is, we charge no soul except with that within its capacity, and with us is a record which speaks with truth, and they will not be wronged. Now, in the previous episode, we discussed how Iblis at times makes us doubt our own potential and capacity. Allah places us in tests, and instead of discovering our potential and learning how to survive the test by trusting Allah, we enter into depression and we start asking Allah, why me? In this episode, we need to further dive into this concept by looking at examples. This beautiful verse of Surah Mu'minun proves that every test placed on every soul is perfectly within its capability. So before you even start doubting Allah or questioning why Allah is treating you in this unjust manner, remember that no soul will ever be wronged. No soul will ever be tested by a burden which it cannot bear. If we are severely tested and then we fall into depression, instead of learning to fight, then on the Day of Judgment, our record will mention the test and it will mention our reaction to the test. So when Allah asks us on the Day of Judgment why we didn't fight the test, and we respond by saying, Allah, because the test was too hard, it was impossible for us, Allah will answer by saying, did you even try? Did you remind yourself that Allah never burdens a soul more than it can bear? So if He has burdened me with this test, it is only because I have what it takes to survive it. Did you look towards all those who were in worse situations, yet they fought with passion and determination, knowing that Allah's mercy was near? So why didn't you? Did you not know that every second of struggle that you do in the cause of Allah is being recorded and it will be fully rewarded on the final day? Did you end up trusting the words of Iblis, who kept telling you that you won't be able to do it? Did you end up trusting his words over the words of Allah, who kept telling you that you have the capability of overcoming anything that is thrown your way? Look at examples, for instance. Musa a.s. was known for being aggressive whenever he saw an act of injustice. He didn't know that he had the ability of being calm and patient even during such difficult moments. So Allah made him aware of his potential. How did Allah do it? By testing him. So Musa a.s., the man who could not bear seeing an act of injustice, he had to witness male babies being killed on the order of the Pharaoh. And despite being a prophet, there was nothing he could do but inform his people to pray and show sabr. That's when he learned his hidden potential. That is when he learned how calm and patient he can be even during the most difficult moments, and that is when he became ready to lead an ummah of 600,000 rebellious Israelites. Yusuf a.s. is another perfect example. He had always been given special love and treatment by his father, and he was also always given respect in the community because he was a prophet's son. But he did not know that he had the potential of surviving entirely on his own in a hostile environment without the love and support of anyone. So Allah made him aware. How? By testing him. He had to survive in a foreign land, Egypt, away from his family and his people, working as a slave and spending years in prison despite being innocent. No one knew he was a prophet's son, and no one even cared. He was entirely on his own. But it was only then that he learned his potential, developed that strong connection with Allah, and eventually he was able to raise the status of Bani Israel in Egypt. So when Yaqub a.s. and his family joined Yusuf in Egypt, they all were respected and raised to degrees of honor, not because of Yaqub a.s., but because of Yusuf a.s. This is what he was able to accomplish entirely on his own with the help of Allah. Hazrat Bilal is another beautiful example. He was known in Makkah for being the weakest of all slaves. He was known for lacking passion, courage, determination, and conviction. And for that reason, he lacked respect in the eyes of the Quraysh and even in the eyes of the other slaves. Hazrat Bilal had no idea that his actual potential was far greater than what anyone could imagine. He was a mighty warrior. He did not know this, but Allah knew. So Allah had to make him aware. How? By testing him. The weakest slave was given the worst kind of torture in Makkah, to the extent that even the chiefs of Quraysh started feeling sorry for him. But it was then that Hazrat Bilal and the entire Quraysh saw his true potential to fight and survive. Suddenly, the weakest slave revealed the greatest strength that the Quraysh had ever witnessed. And after that day, not only did the Quraysh have respect for him, but even he had a lot of respect for himself. It was that severe test that transformed Hazrat Bilal from a weak slave to a strong warrior and a courageous companion of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So no matter how hard the test it is that you are experiencing, you have the potential to face it, otherwise it would never have been placed upon you. Don't doubt yourself and your potential. The Creator knows what kind of strength you have, so trust your instincts and fight. And on the day you do that, you will become the best of Allah's creations. Assalamu alaikum.